learned to use the darkness too, and call it up for fuel. As pure darkness it is, deep inside us within. A living world of its own, a realm that a part of us calls home. Here we go now, into the depths within, home of the sovereign and the unique, ready to win. You are the God, self the ultimate divine. When you live like this, everything will be glorified. Here we are now in the darkness within. Here we are now as our soul song sings. Here we go on this path of ascension. Here we dive to a place that's hard to mention. Impossible to know. We transcend time and we transcend all of space. We are higher than all of the human race. Yet together we rise, together we fall. We won't lose them all. It's our journey and our call. Here we are now in the darkness within. Here we are now as our soul song sings. Here we go on this path of ascension. Here we dive to a place that's hard to mention.
Being divine is always on time. For living with a spine makes you grow a superhero mind.
You are God. You are the true essence of source. Don't be divorced from your true self within. Let your order spin. God comes to you, and God comes to me. It won't let us be. We are the all, we are the mind. It's our time to shine. Let your spirit be your guide. Here we are now in the darkness within. Here we are now as our soul song sings. Here we go on this path of assumption. Here we dive to a place that's hard to mention. That's hard to mention. Spirit is divine. This is your time. Let your spirit shine.
Right you are. True beauty lies within. You will win when you follow your heart's wishes to dive in. Follow the darkness that's within. Let it out, find your heart. It will open up your heart.
Follow the darkness that's within. Let it out, find your heart. It will open up your heart.
Hello, and thank you again for joining us on this Transcending Ascension podcast. Today we have with me a guest that I'm so excited to have here and to get like one-on-one time to just pick her brain. And that's Rockell of Rock That Truth on both Twitter and TikTok. And thank you so much for being here today, Rockell.
Yeah, thank you. I love your song. That was awesome.
That's the newest one, and I have to say, it's my favorite. It's my favorite one.
It's good. I love it. It's so fun. It's so creative too.
Yeah, it has done things like the releasing of creativity. It's like it releases the will back to you. Like it releases back yourself. Like you unlock these parts of yourself that like mainstream society is bred out of us. And then even in standard like spirituality, it's like have you ever found like a creative outlet that like helps your soul shine?
Yeah, gardening. Actually, my profession, because I'm a horticulturist, so I'm gardening all the time. But until I really like awakened, like spiritually, it is a whole new level because now, like, when I look at plants, I'm like, you're so beautiful. I love you so much. Where before I was just kind of working and, on to the next job. But now I've like slowed down so I can actually see the beauty and it like pulls out the beauty in me when I see it. But I love how the song had, you know, pull out your darkness, like face it. Like don't just push it in and hide it. Like actually bring it out and talk about it and release it. That was cool.
Yeah, it's something that like I'm waking up to more and more and more, especially as someone who used to be like, I want to say like a rage problem, but like it was more eh, aimed at myself. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
with just self-hate and treating myself badly and like, the way that a lot of people go on, especially as a people pleaser, right? Formal people pleaser.
Yeah.
So awakening to that fact, hi Karen, that we have darkness. But when we like ignore that fact because we've been brainwashed to think all darkness is evil, that's when it gets like weird and twisted. When if we look at the darkness as the sacred, as the
Hmm.
0 point energy zone, which I know you love, and the void space, like darkness of where creation comes from, and we actually start creating whatever our personal calling is, it just does something. And I think if everybody found their
Oh, you froze up a little bit. You there, Diana? Hello, hello. Ah, they're always jamming these calls. I hate that. It's okay. I heard you. I heard you
that,
though.
oh good.
Um, you're good. You're good now. So yeah, I heard this recently on a podcast, and it was Bob Marley's daughter, and her name is like Zari or something, and she's one of his daughters, one of his 17 kids, and she said because she's coming out with her testimonial of how she was abused as a child after he died. It wasn't him. He was actually really good. Like his music is so healing, by the way. So that's good to find out. But she said there's dark and light, and there's no room for evil. But what they've done is convinced us that there's evil, but there really isn't evil. It's just dark and light, and it's how you transmute it and how you handle it and what you do with those two energies. But they wanted us to think that there's evil so we could like fall into that and give it power. But we don't have to do that. We could just say, you know what, I'm going to like talk about the dark things that come up in my psyche and my feelings through my programming. Because we've been just taking on things and thinking that it was real, but it's not. Like it's all illusion. Like you said, like people pleasing. Like I don't need to people please. I can actually let go of that program. I don't have
Because
to
you
make
can learn.
everybody happy.
It's so true. And then the part of this is learning that I am a good person. Just because I
Yes.
say no sometimes to things I don't want to do, that,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like you still can be a good person. You can get firm in that. And that allows you to go to that space.
Yeah, yeah, and reminding yourself, like you just said, like, "I am a good person." This is the second time I've heard this. My friend Connect Neo was telling me the same thing the other day. He was like, "Just remind yourself that you're doing a really good job." And I was like, "You know what? You're right." Like, I don't know why I don't think I am, but I am. I really am doing a good job. Like, I always make sure my clients are taken care of. I always make sure the family's taken care of. I always make sure my friend, like I'm doing a good job, but we want to like be our worst critic. Like we want to beat ourselves up. And that is a program. Like why do we do that to ourselves?
Yes, there's so many like underdog stories. Like Hollywood has flooded us with all of these tales that are like just the fool, but then glorifying that fool. And maybe he does one cool thing, but like overall, like there's been so much flooding of thinking less of ourselves. We're not good enough, from the church, from Hollywood, from even the government and the way they police us.
Mhm.
Like we're not just going to do the right thing. Like education isn't enough. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And they just get this into us. The school system's getting us in trouble for every little infraction, and just keep that just permeated our being from all these different spaces, that it
Mhm.
really becomes completely embodied in who we are. And that's not okay. And now our subconscious mind has that. And that's where the evil comes in. And that's where you can see all that dogmaticness being actually like from darker entities, because who really benefits at the end of the day from this? Not even the humans that are part of keeping us subjugated. The real benefiters are the beings that get to feast on our loosh, from our fear, from our shame,
Yeah.
from our guilt. It just literally, you can feel it. Like, especially
Mhm.
now that I'm in this space where I don't really hit those spots anymore. If I do
Mhm.
like even touch on them or get close to that area that I used to live within, I feel my entire being just begin to drain, and my whole essence, like the dark crystal, imagine it
Mhm.
like literally being sucked off.
Yeah.
And then just learning to like, get away from that, and all these different things, which creativity is such a powerful way for that.
And that's what we are. Like we're just little creator beings. So how do you like control creator beings? You like control them through everything.
Mhm.
School, religion, you're born a sinner, like you're a bad person if you have this thought. But I think like with the little evil piece, it's like if they can convince you you're evil, then they basically are like winning. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
When we all kind of have the same weird secrets or whatever, we like the same things that we don't want to tell people about, we all have the same things that we are things that are secrets, but they're not really secrets. So they try to convince you to like hide all that and suppress it, and the more you do that, the more you're like hiding yourself, and then you do start to convince yourself that you're evil, and then they think that they got one on their side now, like, oh, this person. But all you have to do is just share and let it go, like, yeah, I like this, or I like that, or I don't like this, you just have to share it because we're all, what I'm realizing is like humans are super, super simple. Like we really are easy, simple beings, but we've been convinced that we're not. Like we've been confused, and they've, what does the dark like to do? Confuse you. So let's convince them this, or let's say the earth isn't round, it's flat, or it is flat and it's round. Let's divide them, when they're the ones creating all the psyops on us to keep us confused. It's like fascinating.
It's so true. And then they try to make like those shameful things you're saying. The funny thing is, it's like it's not always exactly the same. There's usually some aspect of like lusty shame, or some aspect of
Mhm.
selfish shame, and some aspect of like egoic shame. Like there's all these different shame spots, but then they can be like different variables for each person. And then that's where they get you, because you're like, oh no, 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 no. Your thing is a freak. Like you're not okay. Your
Right.
shame spot's not okay. And like they create this narrative where it's like it's okay to be your true self, but then they created the box of true self. Like, and I have
Mhm.
no hate to anybody, but under the flag of pride and like that whole show that's going on, like,
Oh
oh,
god.
that's being
Yeah.
your true self. But like not choosing to not get vaccinated, that's not your true self. That's bad. You're bad. And like
Yeah.
all
And you're
these
shamed.
things, right? Or
Yep.
even talking in class, or questioning the preacher and asking genuine questions with backed up
Mhm.
information. No, that's shameful. But then they act like society isn't this box that it is, because they make these shows where they're like, oh, but look, it's so free and progressive, and it's just the other side's fault things suck. And it's just this, they do create like a complex weave of like the way like the fourth dimension is, and how it's like
Mhm.
so tangled. And if we were ever actually there, it'd be ridiculously cartoony, because like everything is so like the stories and deeply entangled, right? And they try to do that here. And with bureaucracy, the silly things they get us to do, like they tie us up and they tie us up and they tie us up. And the release is the one thing I won't shut up about, and that's like sovereign discernment. Because with that, it's like that, they talk about the veil falling away. It's like your
Oh yeah.
understanding opening up, because once
Yeah.
you realize you're the one, you don't need to wait for someone to tell you what's okay and what's not. You
Yeah.
open up a space of just simply starting to feel into things. Sometimes you might like trial and error, like oopsie, but like you're sovereign, so you saw it. And then it's like you just start living life and mapping out your own path. And then by that, creating a bigger organic matrix for everyone.
Oh gosh, that's so true. I mean, that's beautiful. I love how you said that because it makes me feel like we've been taught the veil's falling, but I think it's like my veil is falling. Like my illusion, whatever this little invisible cloth that, makes me think things are a certain way is like going away. And like my hyper awareness is kicking in, which at the same time, hypersensitive, like I'm so sensitive now to like driving down the road where I used to be totally fine driving. I never got road rage. I never freaked out. Like I was calm, but now I'm like, oh, you own this road? No, 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 NPC. Like I'm paying for this road. I get to get over. There's a wreck right there. You have to let me over. I'm not scared to like say something to them now, where before I would never do that. I would just be like, kind of people pleasing, even in traffic, like, hi, hi, hi. But now I'm like, I I feel all the energies on the road. Like I feel all that spiraling energy coming from that car and that car. So I'm like super sensitive. It actually kind of gives me a little bit of anxiety, I'm not gonna lie, driving. But I don't know if it's just because I've turned on. So I actually am aware of everything, like every car that pulls out into the middle section. You know what I mean? So the veil for me is like, it's like my veil is lifting. So now I can feel more, like my aura is growing back maybe, and I can feel more outside of me. Does that make sense?
1000%. And it's funny because even specifically, people have been talking about the crazy energies lately. And I was like, I've been feeling it, but I've gotten really good at grounding kind of thing, and just integration.
Breathing.
But yeah, deep breathing through the nose. Absolutely. But when I was driving, I was in like I didn't realize I was scared, but I was like there was this person that like turned, and I was like, oh
Uh-huh.
my God. And I honked, and I was like, okay, they actually had enough room. I overreacted. And then I did the same thing, almost the same kind of move, different roads. Somebody was pulling out, but then I don't remember people just pulling out when you're coming. Like, and I never do that.
That's
Like,
happening. Yeah, like that's
yeah,
happening a lot more. What's up with that? Like,
I know. Okay, so maybe I'm not crazy for being nervous, but I just
no,
these cars that just are like, and they're in their own lane, but like you're coming out, and it's like, I, I I don't know.
I
It
know.
freaks me out in a way that,
It's same. And I think it's because we're hyper sensitive now and hyper aware. Like we are just, we're kind of like, we just can see it all. It's almost like we're over here and everywhere now. I don't
yeah.
know, girl. It's changing, and I don't think we're going to be driving like this much longer because my friend, he said one time, he's like, we're driving around in death metal boxes, Raquel. And I was like, oh my God, we are. Like, why do we do this? This does not make sense. We're supposed to be able to like walk through a portal or open up a portal in a tree, like these trees, or the hyper loops that are below our feet that are being used by whoever. I don't want to call them the E word, but those
Mhm.
beings are using them. But we should be able to travel freely on our planet. Like this way that we're doing it now is so like ridiculous. I think that's why there's so much talk around like not flying because the airplanes coming down and like energy's changing, and like you just need to really stay grounded right now. Like ground yourself, meaning don't be up in the air in these, weird ass Boeing planes that are coming down. It's like every day you hear about something. So grounded, staying grounded is like kind of what I've been telling people.
Yeah, that is so key. And it's what brought me out to living in the country like 5 years ago now, because we were in the
Mhm.
city and we were high up. We had a nice place. It was probably had more bathrooms than this place. But like we had to get out of the city, and I
Mhm.
knew we had to get out from being so high. I was really
Yeah.
getting into needing to ground and the energies. And I take the kids to the park almost every day and walk barefoot, which in a city park, it's like, ugh, you know, so, but I'd still
Yeah.
do it because I needed that grounding, or I learned to just touch trees or find excuses to just hold, like lean up against a
Hmm.
tree or something like that.
Yeah.
Because it's so, and then when I moved to the country, it was like that. Like there was a huge shift just from getting
Hmm.
to be here. And I was finally like, what was energy of like, it became energy of, you know, and
You
it's
could
not like,
breathe. Yeah.
exactly. I
You're
felt
like,
that. Mhm. I felt that in the actual air, and I felt that just like energetically because I think our auras
hmm.
breathe. I felt that.
Well, yeah, and like the cities, like all that energy built up on top of each other, like from each person and like living in sky risers or apartments or, condos, whatever. It's like even the elements don't like it. Like the wind. She hates going through all those sharp metal buildings. So then you get all that chaotic energy in there. And then that's when a lot of people start going a little cuckoo. You see more, I guess it's proven that more people are actually do turn gay in cities. And it's because of the energy is like they're not grounding, they're not connecting, they're not, aligning to the spiritual being that they are. And it causes everything to get out of whack. And I don't know. I learned that recently. I thought that was very interesting. But it makes sense. And if your
Mhm.
aura can't grow, right? Like, say you're in a building that has like 10 stories and
Or
you're
made
like
of
on
metal. Yeah.
5, yeah, your aura really cannot grow. It can't grow. And that's just going to keep making you probably like why we've shrunk down. Like, honey, I shrunk the kids. Like, we have shrunk down because our auras have been so pressed on, like suppressed. And now we're actually like, I do want to be outside with nature. Doesn't mean I have to be a farmer, but I do want to be outside. I do want to grow my aura back. I do want to recalibrate. I do want to breathe fresh air and not exhaust from these cars that are, you know, death metal boxes and all that anxiety energy coming out of those cars. Like, so I do see like it's so smart that you did that and made the move. And I'm so proud of you. I did not know that you lived in the city and then moved.
Yeah. I grew up in the country, so I'm from more country than this actually.
Mhm. I knew
But
that about you, like being in the
oh
you're like a
yeah.
fairy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Yeah, right in the woods. So that was amazing. And I thank that a lot for what got me through like that atheist upbringing. But yeah, I moved to Toronto for a few years, like after high school, 'cause I moved out right
Yeah.
after high school and never went back. And then, so a couple years in Toronto, I even did, well, because everyone knows Toronto. And then I moved to a worse city, but it was for Hamilton, if you've heard of it. Ugh. But
Mm-mm.
it was my sister was going to the university there, and we decided to room up. And then my husband
Yeah.
ended up getting a job there. He still works in Hamilton. Like we're about an hour and a half out, but he commutes every day.
Oh,
So I
nice.
appreciate him.
Nice.
And that was for me because
Wow.
he was happy to stay in the city. He didn't care.
Yeah.
He's just a simple, like he doesn't mind. He didn't want the commute, but he did it because I was
Mhm.
like, I think of the children, like raising your kids in the city. That's what was also pushing on me. I was like, I'm not sending my kids to a
Mm-mm.
city school. Like, oh yeah. So,
Mm-mm.
and it was just amazing to get out of there. We were there for 12 years, and I can't even. My entire dark period I always talk about probably wouldn't have
Was
happened
there.
if I wasn't living there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think about like Luke Skywalker. Like Yoda had to take him out into the swamp to get him to like tap into his force, the force within, source within. And like he had to go out into the swamp, the most yuckiest, creepy crawlies, the most earthy spot on the planet to activate his gifts. It's like that's a huge like disclosure, guys. Like we need to be in nature. We need to be outside. No city living.
Mhm. Mhm. It's
I just
true.
love that scene in Star Wars. It just makes me like I don't know. I made it
Yes.
into
No,
a
I
TikTok.
love it.
This is so yeah,
You know what's
so
funny?
great.
No, because when you were saying it, I actually saw something different because I've heard people quote that go through the swamp, like go through the really hard stuff. And that's how
Hmm.
I saw, because I actually awoke in Hamilton. Like that's when I fully, I had moments. Everybody has their moments over the years before, but 2012 and then the preceding years of nutsness later was in Hamilton. So like maybe there's something about being under that pressure cooker of just like that depressive
Hmm.
energy and anxiety, because it's like an extra like city. Like it's not like Toronto might not have been so dark because Toronto's like really nice, it's amazing. Where Hamilton, it's like I don't know. It's just everyone thinks so. It's just some of the cities are just dark for no reason. Like,
Yeah,
because you couldn't even
well, we
explain
know
why.
why. We know why, because there's a lot of stuff. There's actually dark energy, like dark beings there that are doing all their rituals and whatnot. But the more we're aware of that, the more we can
Mhm.
actually like start, reversing it in these areas that are taken over by the dark. So, for example, like if they have a stronghold in Hamilton, the more you talk about it and bring awareness to it and like, how you felt there, and then now that consciously has awakened other people in your neighborhood or, around you that might actually, still live there or have family there. It's like we have to shine light on that stuff, like the bad things that happen to us in those areas. Because if we just keep ignoring it, like they just keep going. They just keep doing their little festering and, rituals and whatnot. But if we're aware of it, we are the ones that actually stop it by being aware of it. We don't have to go do anything. We just need to be aware. That's it. Just like, hey, that's happening there. I'm not going to be part of that. I choose something different, but I'm not going to be like ignorant and naive and say it's not happening. So it's good. It's good to talk about stuff like that.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting, and I never even put two and two together. I usually don't say the name Hamilton. I usually just say I used to live in this butthole city, and I just leave it at that because I had like
Yeah.
I thought it's because I didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Plus, I don't know, that was it because I've accidentally done that in town, and they're like, "Oh, I'm from Hamilton." I'm like, "Oh," but I wonder if
Mhm.
it's like a block, like they don't want it exposed because it's literally like you know what you mean when you find an implant and then it's
Yes.
gone and then you
Yeah.
realize why thoughts were coming in or thoughts were
Yep.
being blocked, like you'd get inclinations and then a no field would come up.
Mhm.
Now that like you're saying this, I'm like, oh, that same thing could sounds like an implant. So
Yeah.
that's very
Yeah.
interesting.
And you're removing the implant by talking about it. And there's so many like people coming forward with their testimonies of like what happened to them in these, cities and towns and, and there's a lot of like areas where the dark really has been running these areas and nobody really knows about it. It's so hidden until now. Now people are coming out and it's like as soon as you come out and say, and then it triggers, a memory in this person and a memory in this person. Because what I've been noticing with all this energy and like I'm starting to remember stuff from my childhood that I suppressed on purpose. Like, because I didn't want to remember these things. Like, we have that ability to suppress them and not remember them. But then you hear somebody else talk about something and it can trigger it, and then you remember it, and then you get to clear it and actually heal. And now, guess what? I don't have to be a people pleasing person. I don't have to be passive aggressive. I can actually say what I want and do what I want and be okay. Where before I would try to please everybody because I was protecting my little inner child who had to like just survive to get by
Mhm.
growing up. So it's like I think there's a huge shift coming out right now with people like who are like, okay, I don't want to hide my inner child anymore. I want her to be healed or him to be healed. And I want to be able to talk about things that happen to me and, not think it's taboo and let it as soon as we speak it out, we let it go and it's gone. And it's like a butterfly flying away. It's probably why they use like the butterfly symbolism now that you
Yeah.
think about it.
It's true. Yeah, the butterfly has like so many symbolic things within it. It's fantastic. And that is
It
so
really does.
true.
Mhm. Yeah. Do you feel that, like, up there in Canada, like, more people are kinda, like, coming online, like, with who they really are? No.
With who they really are, but without the spirituality. And like you get like the
Yeah.
odd mentioning of vibes and things like that. People starting to wake up to energy, but they're not
Yeah.
like connecting the dots of what that means by source and all the like I don't
Mhm.
know. I was source before energy. So like
Mhm.
or I guess I got into witchcraft, but it's still that's very magic.
Mhm.
Where I don't know how this I think because 'cause they're getting, like, you know how you can get incepted with things? They're getting incepted with it, but,
Mhm.
like and that's good, it's better than nothing, but there could be so much more depth.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of, like, spiritually bypassing. Like, a lot of people think that they can spiritually bypass all their inner healing, but you can't. Like, the only way you actually do recalibrate is you gotta do your healing. You gotta like face all your shadows, like your song. Like you have to let the darkness come out of you that's been suppressed. You can't like just say, oh, I'm good. I'm connected to the source. I can manifest anything. I can do whatever I want. Like that's not how it works. It's going to come back and get you if you don't do it now. Like every day is a healing day. Every single day. Like we're in the healing age. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like in the future after we do all this healing. It's going to be so amazing. But we heal for them. That's what's so cool about this because we're so
Yeah.
collectively connected.
Yeah, I agree with that because that I think like and that's timeline shifting and all that too, collective consciousness, both.
Yeah.
And we and that's like that's a lot of the reason why I'm obsessed with waking everyone else up because of that. If
I
you all woke
know.
up, it'd be easier for me.
Yeah, it's like we need you. We need you. Please, hi, please, we need you. I have a friend and he's just so awesome. And he's like family to us and he works for like a food chain, but I always try to talk to him about stuff and I'm like, Jimbo, like we really need you to wake up. Like if you woke up, like you're gonna affect so many people, especially in your culture. Like, please wake up. And he doesn't want to. He's just it's scary. Like he'd rather be naive to it. And I'm like, dang it. Like we need you on our
I do
side.
that to my brother because he's a Leo and everyone loves him and he's so smart. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
and he had a moment where he went to a concert dressed as Jesus, and then afterwards he quit drinking. Not that he's an alcoholic, but he's a partier, and it's
Yeah.
like that's part of. But no winning yet.
No, I know. I guess it just takes that spark of God, right, to touch them. And however God touches them, that's all it takes. And I used to like pray for that for certain people, like, please let, just the essence of source touch this person so they can kind of start seeing what I'm seeing. And it's just timing. It's like whoever's timing, it's not on my time, it's on their time. So the more I like started realizing that, the better I got with like letting go of trying to wake everybody up.
Sorry, I was back in time, but I
Nope,
took
you're
me
good.
longer to get it out of the right layout. But yeah,
Oh, you're good. You're good.
it's a lot. It's what we're dealing with is very big. So that jumps us into our because I want anything and everything we can bring them
Yeah,
to bring them
to
to like
help. Yeah,
exactly. Like I know it
tools,
can be
tools.
hard. Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. Because we're like the test subjects and we're trying all these different modalities and we're
Yeah.
shimmying out our own systems because what works for one doesn't work for all. So, like, and that's why I love astrology and human design and stuff because you can start to
Hmm.
map it out, not to like pigeonhole yourself in, but just to start to map it out because projectors, no energy, generators, unlimited energy, manifestors, leaders, and then to like work within that from there because how you should heal and how you should live your life
Hmm.
and all those things are going to be dependent on you, and that's like all your past, your future, but you can kind of gauge the future off those things, and not as a predictionary sense, but just as what fits naturally for you. Like this fits super naturally to me, but if I told I've asked my sister to come on the show a bunch of times because she's really into holistics, and she's like, oh
Yeah.
my god, never, like no, like she could just never do
Mm.
that, but she wants people. So it's like everybody has their thing, yet when she actually talks to people, she can talk to people in person better than I can. Like there's everybody's got their own thing that like makes their avenue what it is. And then
Yeah.
I want to go into a couple of the things. So we're both sun gazers. And so I want to get to that one last because just want the audience to hear someone else talk about it because I'm always like, that's the number one thing. That's the easiest thing. But
I
let's
know. Yeah.
let's dive into urine therapy first because like
Mm.
you introduced me to the concept of it, but things just ping is true, right? They just ping is true, and that one did. And then so I started to read into it, and everything about it makes sense. So please, like, let the audience know because you'd be better at it. I'm pretty new to like learning about it,
Hmm.
and everything that entails.
Well, I'm still learning about it too. But from what I understand is there's so much healing modalities in our urine. And that's why it's been so hated on and like tabooed and like, but when you go and look at all the medicine, like that they're prescribing, a lot of it is urine. Might be horse's urine or cow urine, but it's urine. And that's one of the big secrets that pharma knows about, that they've been keeping secret from us, that our urine can heal almost everything. You do want to, like, kind of eat a healthy diet, and lots of fruits and vegetables if you're going to be doing this, because you really are replenishing what you put into your body, like all those antioxidants, and just all the light that you're eating. So you can use it, you can drink it, and it does heal your inner body. You can actually age it. You can have a friend that she'll put it in a bottle and bury it in her garden for a day or two and then drinks little sips. But you have to get through the program. See, we are programmed to think that that's nasty, that we are nasty. So basically, we're saying we're nasty when we say our urine is nasty. And that's a program. So when you can break through that program and actually do it, you're breaking through so many things. Like you're like piercing through the illusion that the Matrix has created about us. Okay, that's how powerful it is, because it's so, people think it's disgusting. They're like, oh, I'll never try that. Oh, I'll never do that. Until they start doing it, and they're like, oh my God, like I am like, my aura is growing back. Like I can actually activate my light force, like my protection, my armor, my shield, armor of God now. My hair's growing back, my eyesight. You could use it on your skin. Like, so when people get like eczema or blemishes or whatever, it heals that. I actually had a subscriber on X reach out to me and told me that over in China, they actually, when they go to the bathroom, they pour their urine into these giant, like, gallons of tanks, like these tanks, because they reuse it. Like the China, whatever government or pharma over there reuses the urine. And I was like, wow, that's fascinating. So there's a lot in the Bible, like drink thy waters. That's your waters. Like drink your waters. I'll find out. I'll try to find some of those and send them to you later, and we can post them. But there's
Yeah, we can
some
do it.
quotes from the Bible.
Yeah, like one of our Sunday shows I'm doing with Steven, we can have some like that
Yes,
episode to bring more awareness.
that I'll find them and I'll send them to you. But there's a lot in the Bible, and there's just so many cool documentaries out there now that I can send also, that just people who do this, who actually have seen so many good benefits, and just, it really, it's like sun gazing, right? When you can push through that barrier, you're activating all your superpowers, because you're letting go of all the stereotyping, and like this is this way, and no, you can't do that. Like you're unlocking locks that are in you by doing these things. um so I don't know, I need to learn a little more too, because I just tried and true, right? You just try it
Yeah.
and see if it's true. That's the best way to like learn. And once you can push through it in the beginning, you're like, oh my God, okay, yeah, this is not so bad. And this is actually, it's benefiting my health. Like it's a good thing for me. That's another tool in my toolbox to have. You start feeling sick, like you can use that. I don't know. It's just like having these tools in our toolbox, right? Like that's the only way we're going to get through all this, because everything else is out to get us, unfortunately. It's so surreal when you start to think about it. When we have all the power right here, it's right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. You know what's funny? Before I even ever learned of this, it's one of those things I'm always philosophizing. I've always wondered, because you hear about poo being toxic, poo's toxic, and there's lots about that, and it's the waste of the body, it's this, that, and it's like, and we can have watery poos, so we know the
Hmm.
technology is there. Like if you have diarrhea or the flu or something, but then it always occurs, then why do we have a pee hole? Like,
Hmm.
why do we pee? Like that's
Hmm.
always like, and like.
Well, I don't think we're even supposed to use the bathroom this much. Like, because if you go back and you look, go down the Tartaria rabbit hole, they had no bathrooms. They didn't even have kitchens. So I think the whole eating and, processing, and
Mhm.
a lot's changed over the years. My daughter's saying goodnight. Good night, sweetheart. Love you. Bedtime. Night,
Yeah.
buddy. So yeah, so I think honestly, as we ascend and as we recalibrate, and I know you probably feel this, we don't really need to eat as much. Okay. Like we have been forced all this food. Okay. There's a reason When you drive down the street, there's a McDonald's, a Burger King, a Wendy's, a Taco Bell, a California, Dreaming, whatever. It's so everywhere because they want us eating, because the more we eat, the more dense we are, the more controlled we are, the more sickly we are. Like, we don't need all this
Throws
food.
our hormones off, our mental
Yeah.
capacities, the gut-brain
Chemicals.
connection. Oh yeah, the list is endless.
Yeah. So we basically got tricked into growing all these organs like how they are now. It
It
was
would explain
never,
why
I
they're
don't,
not perfect. Like how
yeah,
not the pancreas,
the
when you have
appendix. The
appendicitis.
appendix.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yes, the appendix.
Yep.
And they can't really
Hmm.
figure out what it's for and it blows up sometimes. Like, what?
Exactly. Does it, like, right? Like, there's no way God would never have created these bodies to do that. Like, the wisdom teeth have to get pulled out. That doesn't make sense. Like, that would never have been the tonsils. Like, I had my tonsils removed. That is so much trauma on my throat chakra. So much trauma. And I
Mhm.
didn't know. I didn't know because I was a kid when it happened.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep, tonsils and anoids, the common thing, and then, also the other thing, I had that too. What I forget what the first thing was. The, like
Uh, the wisdom teeth.
yep, had them removed too. I actually had 5 of
Me
them.
too. Wow,
Yeah,
you got a lot of wisdom, girl.
I know, that's why I was like, "Oh, I coulda had" yeah, and then it's not a surprise that shortly after that, I went into my own version of atheism because my parents always were, but, like, I was a pretty naturally magical kid. I loved trees, I believed in all the
Hmm.
magic stuff, but I didn't know what I knew about God and the Bible because my parents said that was dumb, but I just knew there was magic, but then shortly after, in grade 12 is when I became my own atheist, and
Mm.
then and took that into my mid-20s before the whole drama, and then started waking up again. So it's very interesting because 16, that's like what, end of grade
Whoa.
11. So yeah, going into grade 12, I turned into an atheist. Yeah.
And do you think it was linked up to having the wisdom teeth removed?
I mean, it times
Whoa.
out pretty exactly because it
That's
was the
deep.
summer of grade 11 so that I go into
Whoa.
grade 12 going into be
Yeah.
'cause I did it to become self-empowered. I'm done waiting for God to make my life right, and then
Yeah.
I decided to
Yeah.
do it myself, but that actually worked, but now I know the all
Hmm.
is mine, so that's why that worked. If I had to just set my mind, I could have kept God, but I was one of those
You
people who were
know,
like, "Please, God, give me this,"
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and I think I was kinda the same way because when I reflect back, I didn't really have a relationship with spirit at all. Like, even though I would do these church things that my grandma would drag me to, I was just like it was like a black void. I don't know, it was like a black hole. Like, I never talked to spirit, I never, I didn't even really know what source was. Like, I was so cut off from all that, it was so weird. But then it started to grow back slowly, like, just seeing things with pharma and then the political, arena, and I was like, "Something's not right here, like, what is going on?" And then COVID happened, and then it was like, boom. Yeah, the veil is totally going away. Like, it's gone. I have this giant bug flying over here, I don't know, it might land on me, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. This place has bug I always leave the door open for the kids. My husband doesn't like it because it lets in all the flies, but I like the kids to be able to go in and out, so
Mhm.
flies we have.
Yeah, energy just kinda moves through the house, I'm the same way, I
Yeah,
love it.
and tons of these little tiny moth things that came because of the
Mhm.
birds, I think. They didn't come until we had birds.
Oh, cool, okay. Well, this was like I don't know what this might have been a moth that was just flying around, so I was like, "It's probably gonna land on me, I'm gonna be like, 'Ah!'"
Yeah, that's a fun
That was funny.
spiritual subject too because, butterflies get all the glory, meanwhile, moths have the same process and sometimes can look way more amazing. So that's
They're
almost a buried
so
thing right
beautiful.
there, that moths are the same. They're a caterpillar that turns into
Oh,
a slightly
mhm.
different winged being. That sounds the same.
And they're so big and, like, there's, like, the Luna moths that are, like, ah, they're, like, green and so pretty and
With the ones that look like
all
eyeballs, yeah.
yeah. Just the whole bug thing, like, because I remember reading in the book, Anastasia, like, how she said, like, if a little bug bites you,
I think that too.
don't freak out. It's like actually opening up
It's releasing
a
the core,
pore
yeah.
to allow cosmic galactic information to come into you. And I was like, that is so beautiful because that little bug has so much knowledge in it. But we've been taught, ugh, kill the bugs. Like, come have your house sprayed. Like, how? I mean, it's just, I don't know how it is in Canada, but here in America, they're killing bugs all over the place. It's so
You know
sad.
what's funny? Oh my God, when I was an atheist in Hamilton early on, we got a bed bug infestation. Back when I was way back when I was living with my sister, when we had a place together, we had a bed
Hmm.
bug infestation, and that's wild.
Well, I do believe, and I heard this one time back in like 2020, and it might have been like Gene Decode when I was going down how his like rabbit holes was so fun. He said that there are bugs that were created by the bad guys, like by the cabal to mess with
Mm.
us, like ticks and
Yep. They've
like
proven that
fleas. Yeah.
They've proven Lyme disease is man-made just like COVID. It was another oopsie and
Yes.
Zika
Yep.
virus, man-made. Sorry,
Yes, and
continue.
certain mosquitoes or gnats or whatever. I mean, there is some of those, like,
That's why I
okay, like
said
if
when I
it's,
heard that from Anastasia, I'm like, okay, but not you, mosquitoes.
well, I heard that mosquitoes, not the ones that are made by like Bill Gates, but the natural real mosquitoes, they are like nature's natural vaccine. So say I came to see you up in Canada, if I got bit by one of your mosquitoes, it's actually like probably giving me all the cosmic information for your terrain, for your area.
Interesting. They
And
say
I
eating
actually
honey
really
is
like
like
that.
that. If you eat it for
Mhm.
your local area,
Yep.
it has the same thing. Yeah.
Yep. All those like pathogens and like all that good stuff. Yep. I love honey. I always have it in my coffee.
Same.
Honey and cream. Real cream.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really good. I love that when she said that though. Like if a bug bites you, don't learn to like slow down, not freak out, not try to kill the bug instantly. Like it's actually allowing information to come into you. So be open to
What's
that.
wrong? Okay, come here. Just give me a minute.
Oh.
You know what? Sorry about that. Another toddler meltdown.
You're fine.
But okay. I'll move in my next question. I would love to hear about sun gazing and your opinions on sun gazing.
Yeah, yeah. I can talk for a few minutes. So I found out the information about sun gazing back in 2020. And I remember the first day that I actually went outside in my yard. I walked out in my yard and was like, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try the sun gazing because I never tried it. I always wear sunglasses, I work outside, I go out on the boat a lot. So I would always wear sunglasses. I was so used to like big sunglasses. So I went out into my yard. I'm like, I'm gonna sun gaze, the sun's going down. As I'm walking out to get in my sun gazing spot, an acorn from the oak tree fell and hit me right here. Boom, right on top of my head. And at the time, I was like, oh my God, is this like a sign that I shouldn't do this? And I kind of freaked out a little bit. And then I was like, you know what? Nope, I'm going to do this because I want to do it. So I started sun gazing. And now I know that it was total confirmation from the elementals that are always around us, here to help us if you're open to it. And that was a little confirmation like, yes, Rockell, like go sun gaze. And ever since 2020, I started sun gazing. And what I do for anybody who's starting out is I would go out in the morning or in the evening, sunrise, sunset, and I would, no contacts, no glasses. You have to have both eyes open. Don't do this. You need to have both eyes open and just try to take 7 deep breaths while looking at the sun. Just 7. Just start with 7. And I would do that for like 2 weeks. 7 deep breaths with my eyes open, looking at the sun. And what I noticed is, yeah, I did get the little ring. Like you almost see like this little energy ball because it's like opens up. Our eyes are a black hole, like our iris and our pupil, like all in there is a black hole. Like, we are a black hole. That's why we've been convinced to be scared of black holes. See how they do that? They flip everything. Just like numbers, just like 666, because you're 6 neutrons, electrons, protons, 666. They try to convince you to be fearful of yourself.
More
The
shame
sun is
programming.
you. Yes, the
Mhm.
sun actually is you. The sun feeds you. So what happens is when you start sun gazing, for anybody that's new, it goes right into the black hole, which goes right into the human vessel, which goes into all the chakras that align us, these little energy balls that we're made up of. It's our etheric energy, light body. And that is your true essence. This is just what you manifest. This is just your avatar. So when your chakras are aligned and fed spiritually through the light, you'll start noticing, like, you will say you have gut problems, okay? You'll start to heal that chakra in your gut, all that red and, all that area. And you'll be like, oh my gosh, like, why is this, I'm actually healing, like I'm getting better, or back, like your wings, your wing chakra, or your heart, or your throat, wherever you have blocked energy. And that's really where you'll get sick. That's where you have dis-ease in the human body. It goes in and starts to heal those chakras, and it actually starts to turn them the right way. Where if they've been spinning the opposite way through all the programming and, scalar waves and, everything that's that hits us, we start self-correcting it. So you'll start to notice, like, oh my God, like I'm actually healing, like my headaches are going away, my throat. So that's one thing that's really cool about sun gazing, is it feeds your spirit. Okay. Really, really feeds your spirit. People go to church to feed the spirit. Like, this is actually feeding the spirit. You're eating the sun, guys.
Yes.
When that ivy single, you know what I mean? Like, you fill with light. Like, so you start to fill with light. And what I noticed is, the more I sun gaze, the more it hemisyncs your brain, right? Because a lot of people are in the left hand side of their brain, or a lot of people are in the right hand side of their brain, and they're not in the middle. But to get in the middle, when you're sun gazing, it pulls that focus, and it actually gives you something to focus on that's not a screen, a TV screen, or a phone. And it actually feeds you, and it hemisyncs the brain. So instead of, like, you don't have to go listen to the gateway tapes, you don't have to do any of that stuff. You can actually just sit and be with the sun, and it will actually start to balance you, both energies that are in you. And that's, like, so healing. That's when you can start to actually see all the points of view, not just this side point of view or this side. You get to see it all, and you start to become more neutral and natural, and you're like, oh, I see all this is illusion. I'm not gonna, like, give it my power. I mean, what do you think? Because
Oh
how do
yeah.
you feel?
I
Yeah.
agree with that, and then more, because I think when I first started sun gazing, because it was one of those things I was called to, like, when you get like hints everywhere, that I call like
Yes.
a call. Um, I actually went into a huge dark night of the soul, because
Mhm.
it was like sending so much activations, and just like anytime you get an activation, if
Persian.
there's some kind of blockage, it'll cause a dark night of the soul, and it was really so, like, but I didn't stop. I was like, I'm not quitting, because I knew it was happening, but at the same time, I was at that part of my awakening already to realize what blocks were, what cognitive dissonance
Yeah.
was, and what the dark night of the soul feels like. So I went through it, hopefully good. But at the same time, it was like quite like a difficult time of just not knowing who I was. It almost like made me
Mhm.
realize, like, because I was already like spiritually like involved in doing stuff, and then it's like, but I didn't even know who I was yet, because I became spiritual, and then I spent years in that, and then I got into the scene, and then it still hit me. It was a reckoning of not realizing I was this spiritual person now, as being a good mom and a good wife, maybe better than I was before, but I'd left like a chunk of me behind, like that
Mhm.
inner child, that like
Yeah.
problematic Diana. She had gotten like left behind, and I needed to like reintegrate her. So, and weirdly enough, I actually was like, I would seem like a better person before. Like, I was more, I went to commitments better. I like, I was going to church and helping. I was doing all this like good servicey stuff. I probably cooked more, cleaned more, like all the things that would seem stereotypical better person. But it ended up going and getting old Diana, because old Diana was lethargic and couldn't move, and put her back in with this new like robot character that had become amazing, quote unquote, but like had
Yeah.
left a
Mhm.
large chunk of self behind, and it brought it back
Mhm.
together, and I actually stopped being so amazing. But I started to actually like, whoa, i I didn't realize I'd left myself behind, and it's part also being a mother does that too, right? Like, you end up
Mhm.
accidentally, whoops, I left myself behind, because you're just so busy with the kids, and we had all three of ours basically like at once, which that's what we wanted, but it does create like a where'd I go kind of thing, and I didn't even realize it. So yeah, that's what it did for me. It made me realize it. It helped it bring it back online. And then once that dark night of the soul was over, it just brings me knowings and activations and
Yeah.
all these things. And I notice it's like any good habit. If I miss it for a day, if it's cloudy or something, like, it's felt like,
Mhm.
it's like
Yeah.
I'm not.
You want it.
Yeah. Oh my God. I hear the Britney song. I need a hit. I want you. Give me a hit. Oh God, it comes into my head on its own when I do it because I'm like, yeah, like.
That's awesome. I love it. Oh, Brittany. Well, you're right. Like it does trigger a lot of like shadow work. Like, yeah, dark night of the soul. Like you're gonna have to face these things. Like, and I think a lot of it's like the programs, right? Like guilt, shame, jealousy, unworthiness, abandonment, all those things that we get hit with growing up. Um, it's like you have to let that surface. And sun gazing really did bring that to the surface for me too. And once I was aware of it, I could clear it. Like, oh, this is like abandonment coming up. Like I felt so abandoned as a kid, but now I'm not. Like I'm actually so safe and secure and I do a really good job taking care of myself and it's like you can start talking to yourself like that. Like, oh, I can let that go. Like I can just clear it and remove it. And what you said about being a robot before, I mean, that's how I was. Like when I think back, I'm like, God, they really did turn me into a robot. Like me, like this like very whimsical, like I love nature, I love plants, but I really was a robot. Like, I can't believe that I got so lost in the sauce. Like, I was just, where was Rockell? So having to like figure out who you really are through all this. And I'm still doing it. And I know you are too. Like every day we're changing. And it's like you have to take it day by day, one day at a time, because something always gets revealed to you. And now we can actually recognize it, which is really cool. And what I've been noticing, and I'm sure you are too, is like I can manifest really fast. Like the most random things, like pavers, like 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 a patio paver, like a little
Oh
concrete
yeah.
block, or like a pocket knife. Like I wanted a pocket knife, and then somebody gave me like a very special person gave me a pocket knife, and I'm like, I just thought that like 2 days ago. I need to have a handy little pocket knife because of what I do for a living. Like just, and it's like, well, what was I feeling in that moment that made it that the universe aligned just perfectly to make that happen? I guess I was in no mind. Like I was in neutrality. I was right in the middle. And that's what sun gazing has allowed me to do is like kind of be right here. So when I really want something, it's not like I really want it, right? Because then I'm not getting it. It's like I'm just like, oh, that I do desire, to have a pocket knife, and then it shows up, or a guitar or whatever. It just it's very interesting how the universe works, and how you have to be in that right current or frequency to pull it into you. You know what I mean? Like you have to like be in that sweet spot, and that's
When
kind
you
of what
can't
sun
fake
gazing
it.
has done.
You can't fake it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny what you said because it ties in like people because it's getting better now, but years ago it was all about manifestation, manifestation, where the people are waking up more. But the funny thing is like all that teaching and manifestation that works if you're aligned and centered. Like
Yeah.
if you can, like there's like transurfing, like no importance. When I learned no importance, because that throws the balance off, right? Because you, like you said, you
Mm-hmm.
need to be aligned and in the middle. And if you have too much importance, like too much desire, like you need to have the desire and then throw it away. And you hear that in
Yeah.
manifestation.
Yeah, no attachment to outcome, right? Like just like I don't care how it's gonna get here or what's gonna happen. I'm not gonna try to figure it out, but if it happens, yes.
Exactly. And
Thank
it's
you.
that's what, because you want to stay balanced. And then, but then yet assured it will happen. And then
Hmm.
polarity, it's always in the polarity, yet fine if it doesn't happen. And then, but
Yes,
authentically,
that
authentically.
that's the key. What you just said there. Like you're okay if it doesn't happen, and you're okay if it does happen. So that like that's I mean that's huge because that really is. Think about the materialistic world, how they convince us we need all this stuff and want all this stuff, but we don't need any of it. You know what I mean? Like we really don't. So it's like now when we like I want to see a bird, right? Like a pink spoon-billed rosita. They're pink. They look like pink flamingos. They're so pretty. I just thought about it and I was just so natural with it. And then one showed up on my dock like 3 days later. And I was like in the worst moment when it happened. I was having like a dark night of the soul moment. I was just like almost like having like depression thoughts. Like I was getting hit. And I looked out and there she was, just on my dock, pink and beautiful, and I instantly just phew, everything was gone. I was so healed in that blink of an eye. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I had the perfect gift just given to me." And now I can have thanks for it and gratitude. Like I can actually, and then I think you become more abundant because you do have the gratitude and, and it's a bird. It's like a beautiful bird. That's all I needed.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I know.
That's what the universe does. There's so many things like that that people like experience where it's like the universe tells you yes and you keep going and you keep going and it builds, and that's exactly what we're doing in the mission we have. And I can't say I love it enough because it's hard some days, and it's harder probably than regular life would be if I was capable of being a sheeple. But
Mhm.
I was never capable of that. I instantly went into depression and anxiety just as soon as I
Mhm.
was done high school, because that was, well, no, actually, as soon as I was in college, sorry. As soon as I was in college, because that was it. And it was like I worked in that world a little bit, and then I was like, that's not for me. And then it's like, but I already went to school, and that was I had to pay for it myself. And it's like, but then all of a sudden, bam, you're looking down the barrel of a gun, being like, oh, now I have to go get a shitty job that just pays rent, and this is the rest of my life.
Mhm.
And it's like, no, there is so much more out there for you, like actual
Mhm.
magic. And if you just
Mhm.
ask, if you just talk to the universe, like you were just saying,
Yes, out
then it
loud.
will start to present itself. But if you're in a dogmatic religion where you don't see that as an option, you're not going to do it. And if you're an atheist, you're not going to do it. Because even when you're
Yeah.
praying, like, please, God, please give me this, which I used to be guilty of myself, it's
Begging.
yeah, it's not gonna,
Mhm.
you need to be from that place of sovereign,
Yeah.
understanding, which really, like, it just comes from the empowering things that we can bring people. Which, funny, back to the urine therapy, because I got interrupted on that stream of discussion. I wanted to compare it to menstrual blood. Have you heard of that? Like, where
Mhm.
it's got similar things except more on the spiritual side. Like, I don't know if you ingest it, if it's actually healing. It probably would be. I would be surprised, but it's spiritually healing. You can use it to
Mhm.
ward off like any, you can, which I heard you can also do with urine, like if you go pee around your
Oh,
property
yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yes. Yes, I, had somebody reach out to me and they told me that they were in the process of having foreclosure on their property, on their house and their property,
Jeez.
and they went and put pee in the corners of their property every single day for, like, 2 weeks, and everything got, like, taken care of, and they did not lose their property, and they actually got, to keep it, and they were, like, this close, and she just basically just started dabbling, like, drip a little pee in every corner and just consistently did it, and everything worked out with pure intentions too. So I think the same with, the period blood, but you also can exfoliate, you can do all kinds of stuff with your skin with it. Um, I remember you were telling me a lot about the tears, how when we
Yes.
cry also, how that
Yeah.
has a lot of healing in it. That's cool. Is
Yeah,
that
that's the
kind of
one
like
thing you can tell people and they won't go, "Ew," like that you can
mhm.
do, people. You can do that one.
Yeah.
And they Matthias Stefano even said, like, "Our faces are shaped for that." He's like, "Look at your faces, like, your
Yeah,
tears
it
are
goes
meant to."
yep, go
Yeah,
right in. That is so
exactly.
cool. I think a
Yeah.
lot of this stuff is gonna become mainstream, more and more people are gonna be trying things and, because people are realizing that they hold all the power. Like, we don't really have to give our power away anymore, which that's what we were taught. But now people are realizing like, "Oh, I am the power. Like, it's me. Like, my body is the most powerful thing here." That's why they try to control our thoughts. Hello. If you're gonna spend all your money, time, and resources on us and our thoughts, what are we then? What am
Mhm.
I? That's a lot that they do just to control what we're thinking in here because we are projecting reality out of our black hole eyes.
Exactly. That's exactly
Double
it.
slit theory, baby.
Ah, that's funny.
My eyes. Woo. I know.
Yeah.
It's like it's fascinating. It's fascinating. Oh my
It's
gosh.
true. When you
But
study the anthropic principle and the divine particle that's like, even quantum physics
Mm,
is waking up to what we actually might be. It actually
yeah,
completely makes sense. It's this one microscopic particle that's flittering around everything and making everything all at once. But that's exactly how the hologram, what's a hologram do? It's like, it's like that kind of imagery when
yeah.
you imagine it printing out. And then imagining our eyes being the ones that do that, it makes sense. It actually does if you can open up to like see the whole picture.
Right? And one thing that's so cool about sun gazing, some of the really cool benefits on top of everything else is like I can see all the particles that make up the ether. They're just these tiny little squiggly balls that are like little balls that are going moving all around. They're
I see
everywhere.
that too a lot. Yeah,
It is
little black
so,
dots that are always
yes.
kind of, yep.
And they're dancing. I can hone in on them on my fingertips and see them dancing around. On my tip of my nose, I can see them just. So I'm like, when I align more, I'm gonna be able to shape those, and I could probably eventually open up a little
Oh yeah, I
portal.
never
You know what I
thought
mean?
about that.
I think that's
Yeah.
what we're working towards because that's all the potential matter that we can create with
I noticed
on
they
top of
move
everything else.
differently. Yeah, because I noticed they move differently depending on like the energy in the room kind
Hmm.
of thing. So interesting. I'm
And
gonna start experimenting.
night vision. Night
Mhm.
vision is one of the cool benefits of sun gazing. So I can wake up in the middle of the night and not even open my eyes and see everything. I can see everything. And I even make sure my eyes are shut because now I can touch my eyes and make sure they're shut. Where before I just was like kind of lucid, you know? And now I can actually, yep, they're shut and I can see everything. So
Well,
that's
I
pretty
didn't
cool.
connect that. I can do similar, especially getting up with the kids too. The kids usually sleep in our bed, and
Hmm.
knowing not to turn the light on and stuff. Like I never have a problem.
That's a cool benefit. When that started happening to me, I was like, whoa, this is really cool. Um, Pretty fascinating. Yeah, I was like, God, this is like so like hidden from us. So much has been hidden. So much ancient wisdom that is now coming back through
Yes.
us. That's so cool. And these
It
podcasts is like yours, like how cool, right?
It's funny you say that because just yesterday I went on Steven's podcast and she's talking about the future. And then they're like, "What's your thoughts?" And I'm like, honestly, I just researched the past to
Mhm.
manifest
Mhm.
that new future. And I have like sometimes I can get glimpses of potentialities. You know what I mean? But I haven't
Mhm.
nailed down how that's gonna look. And like and this because I used to have a lot of stake in the split, but now as I grow, the more I
Mhm.
learn, the more I know, the more I'm like, nah, it's probably not going to happen. Boo. I would love it to. And I was really hoping for it. But like from that point of like, what's the future supposed to look like then if we're together? Because I don't think that's going to be very nice if the other side's in torturous pain. You know what I mean? If we are
Hmm.
like ascending and then they're descending, right?
Yeah, we wouldn't want our brothers and sisters to be
Yeah.
tortured and in pain, right? Isn't that crazy that they try to convince us to create that for us? Like that's they're a piece of us.
I think
Like
that's the
what?
15-minute city agenda. I think that's the
Mm,
15-minute city agenda. It's actually like to get spiritual people and conspiracy theorists to start imagining that as the split so that that's where the sheep will go. And then like, oh, well, they're out of our way in the city and they can just stay
mhm.
there. Because all these people worrying about these cities, what do you have to worry about? You're not going to live there. Like, why is
Yeah,
that
and
agenda being pushed?
I'm noticing that that's not even really happening in our reality anymore.
No,
Like, you know what I
I've
mean?
never seen it at all. I've seen so many
Yeah,
plans and so many discussions of it, but I've
yeah.
never, ever, ever seen an actual talk about it whatsoever.
Mm-mm.
And then it's like, why would that be a narrative? Because they want to manifest it and they want like,
To
I
control.
don't know. It's nefarious either way.
Yeah, and I'm not creating that. I'm
Mm-mm.
like if my brothers and sisters want to awaken and like create heaven on earth with us, like all we have to do is just reconnect with nature. That's it. That's all we got to
Yes.
do. And the weather will recalibrate. We will have perfect weather all the time. We won't have all this crazy, chaotic, storms that wipe out people. All that is because people lost their way, and the weather's trying to be like, hey guys, like the Bible Belt. Hi
Yeah.
guys, this is like actually kind of wrong. Like eating the body and drinking the blood, and you're doing all these rituals, and you're come on guys, like
That
remember
sounds
me.
just like
I am you.
witchcraft. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just doing their witchcraft. Like, come on, guys, like just recalibrate back to me. Like, you don't need to worship me, but like You are me. I am you. I am the wind. I am the water. I am the ether. I am the fire. Like it's all us. And all we have to do is acknowledge nature and then it grows the most beautiful tomatoes for us, like or bananas or whatever. And it's so simple. It's so easy. It's hard. Isn't that just I think about that a lot. I'm like, it's so easy, it's hard.
It's true. It's true because when someone's that stubborn and the answer is so easy, like if it's like we're talking about the sheeples and trying to wake them up, it's like it is so easy for us because we know better. But then you try to explain that to someone that's just absolutely going, no, no. And they're
Mhm.
stuck in that programming and shut off. And
Yep.
it's like, what do you even do? And I can't even relate because I had my moments in atheistic dogma, but not really. I actually was
Mhm.
secretly always hoping someone would convince me there is a God. Why in the world would I not want there to be a God? Of course I wanted there to be a God, and I was waiting for that to come through. And finally it did, thanks to Eckhart Tolle. Because even when I was a witch, I was like an atheist witch. I started
Mhm.
believing in energy, and I started to believe that you could manipulate stuff because that just scientific, because quantum physics, it scientifically made sense. But the fact of God and that fact that we're immortal did not make sense. That I would get to
Mhm.
remember, like maybe I still existed as an essence, but
Mhm.
am I aware, or am I just dust in the wind? Like they sing that like it's poetic, and it's like, imagine being dust in the wind and that's your entire existence. Like I'm sure it could be beautiful if you were like in that frequency, but if that's all you were ever going to be, I don't know. There was just so many what ifs in those dark holes
Mhm.
of like not being sure. And then Eckhart Tolle, I don't know like what it was exactly. He just got it through to me that the now is God.
The power
The,
of now. Yeah.
yeah, the
So
now
good.
is God. That because
That's
it's the
where
all of the all.
all of it is. Yeah. It's right
Yeah.
here, right now. And everything's designed to keep us planning and focusing. There's a lot like learning from history, it's huge. Like we do learn a lot. But when we give a lot of our power away to history, we're keeping all those bad, dark people that, were out to hurt us alive because we're still thinking about them. Like we don't need to think about Nancy Pelosi and, these Adam shit. Like we shouldn't even be saying their names, right? Like because they're gonna just poof, be gone from our reality because we're not gonna give them energy anymore. And I think they actually kind of are, by the way. I don't think they're in our reality anymore. Look at this little guy. He's just like, hey, I want to say hi. That's my
He's
orange boy.
the star of the show.
He's such a sweet boy. But yeah, so I agree. The power of now, like right here, right now, slowing down so you can actually be in the now is, probably like the number one advice I like to give people is just slow down. Go slow to go fast because the slower you go, the more you can actually see what's going on around you, right? You can see where they're trying to program you. You can see if it's on a commercial or whatever. And it's because you've slowed down and now you can cancel. Anything that they try to do, we can just say, cancel. I'm not going to
Yes,
consent
cancel
to that.
nullify. It's my go-to phrase. Yep.
Cancel. Yes. And it's like we see it now because we slow down, right? Because we are more in the now and then we start breathing more. We have more time to like kind of meditate, and meditation can be anything. Watering your garden, that's meditation. Like whatever it is that, listen to your music, on your headphones, like
Yeah,
that you're
whatever gets
creating. Yeah.
the chip chipping to stop. Just get
Yep.
that total silence, and then you feel like the heart spark come alive. Like it just starts to
Hmm.
come alive, and the longer you can keep it alive, the more it kind of like wafts out like a healing frequency for real.
Yeah, like our aura, just
Yeah.
the aura, which is like our Merkaba, right? Like, so our aura is like the Merkaba, like it's that power shield around you, your light body. So I think the more that becomes alive, so then, like you were saying, like, the sheeple, well, the more we grow our aura and they just walk by us or touch us or, pass us in traffic, that affects them. That
Yes.
just our aura can ignite whatever needs to be triggered in them to start them on their recalibration.
That's true. And that's kind of the answer
Mm,
to what do we do about them? It's that what we were saying earlier, they just get brought along automatically. Because
yeah.
even if you want to call it like timeline switching, because like I'm not sure how much of one, like a lot of things say absolutely nothing changes in your reality. You're just switching frequencies. You're switching timelines. You're never actually manipulating anything. You're switching to a different
Yeah.
timeline.
Mhm.
Exactly. So like out of that used to freak me out about my kids. I was like, oh God, they're different kids now. Like
Yeah, we have different versions of our loved ones. I like
exactly.
it.
Because I've noticed tons of people in my life have just like that gotten better on their own without doing anything, realizing anything, noticing anything.
Yeah.
And the most logical conclusion is a timeline shift.
Yeah, like you just got a new version of them that's a little better. Mhm. Yeah, well, that's very encouraging, right? So we're getting closer and closer and closer to our true self then, I would say. Like, because every time I shift the timeline, I get more recalibrated to who I am. So
Yes.
the version of me, the true version of me, she's like right here, and I'm just getting closer and closer and closer.
I feel
Because
that too. I see it like the
yeah,
private periscope, and we're
mhm,
like going like, or it's going out because it's going to be bigger and we're going to be more. Like you don't lose anything. You just gain more on
gain.
top of it.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I cannot
That's the
believe
thing.
there's a.
Yeah, like an
Do you hear
ascent.
that? The backup, like my neighbor is getting something delivered, a Porsche right now
Oh,
while we're doing this. And
I
it's
thought
like,
that was
what?
here in my town. That's funny.
It's like beep, beep, backing up.
Yeah, I
Don't
hear
you love
that.
how the Matrix does this? This is what they do. This is like gang stalking. This is how they mess with us. They're just like, it's what time? It's like almost like 9 o'clock, and they're like backing, or 8 o'clock. What is it? 9 o'clock, and they're backing up a delivery right now. That's like unrealistic. I'm sorry. Sorry
I
about that.
agree. No, no, it's true. It's true. They do all this different stuff. Like I don't want to suspect my children, but
I know
no,
they'll
go
come
ahead.
in and be like, "Mom," or, yeah, I know,
Yeah,
my kids do that too. Like,
because I
"I'm in
could
the
be.
best mood."
Yeah, they are here to be our testers. Like I was gonna be Mary Poppins, the perfect mom, and like I love them so much. And obviously I love them so much and stuff, but there's way more like adversariness than I was prepared for. Like I didn't realize like because my parents were really strict and I was like, I'm just gonna be so nice and let them do and get whatever they want. And like that was a terrible plan. And I spoiled them terribly. And then so now like and I've tried to take it back and like my youngest isn't as spoiled, but that was him. So he's still, a little bit.
It is it's a lot of work. That's why I always say it takes a village, and the fact that we don't live with other people and we live in these little squares like Minecraft,
Mhm.
and we're over here and they're over there, and we're over there, and it's like we all need to kinda, like, be together so we can help raise these kids together because this ain't working, this ain't living.
It's
It's like, doesn't make sense.
true. And I'm even
It's a
like, I'm lucky
lot.
to be, yeah. And I'm a stay-at-home mom, so like I'm lucky to be there with them all the time. But they're like endlessly thirsty. There's never enough mom time. There's never enough mom do
Mm,
this for me. That's
I
something we
know.
gotta work on right there. Because there's a lot of conscious parenting stuff coming out that I did try. It didn't say to spoil them though. I did both.
Mm.
So that's
Oh
on me.
gosh. Yeah, and it gets a little easier as I get older, but it's I don't know. I couldn't imagine. Can you imagine like being awake and having a baby? Like it would be so different. It would just I think we would just carry everything so differently. Like because I kind of was like a robot, when I had my babies. So, even though I was awake to some things like the vaccines and all that, but I was still very programmed and doing all the things and hanging out with people and getting our kids together and all that, blah, blah, blah. But now I'm like, God, if I had a baby now being awake, it would just be so free. Like, I don't know. I feel like it would be a whole freeing um, energy. Like, I wouldn't do the whole, like, the baby has to have its own room. Like, I would keep the baby close to me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'd
Yeah.
just be so much like, I don't know. It'd just be so
I was
different.
I was awakening during my kids. So my daughter, I was already conspiracy awake when I had her.
Hmm.
And like huge conspiracy. I was tinfoil hats conspiracy awakening.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
but then by the time my next son came along, I was little and he's what has helped me wake up. Like he's the autistic
Hmm.
one. Like he wouldn't sleep on his own. So because I always wanted to co-sleep, but I listened to my sister and she shamed me out of it.
Yeah.
And then
Hmm.
I didn't breastfeed as long because I don't know. I don't know why. I really wish I did, but I was, and then with my son, I breastfed it. So like everything went longer and better with each one. And then the third one, it was like even better. And like, so like you do learn with each of them. And like, but the first one's definitely a practice one.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. And now we know just so much more, like, because 'cause we're so aware of what this world is, that I really do feel like the babies that are being born now from the awakened spirits that have gone through COVID and, woke up and, like, really started to, like, research and learn who they are, those babies that are gonna be coming in, oh my god, they're gonna be just the most magical, free little spirits. That makes me so happy to think about, like, because I know if I were to have a baby now, it would be so different. Like, I would not do the school thing, I wouldn't do any of it. Like, I would totally be like a way shower. Like, okay, this is, but now I have kids right now that are, 12 and 10, and I am in the school system, even though it's a little private school, I try to do the best I can. It's still really hard because I know it's not the way. But how do we change it? I'm like, well, I kind of need to be in the system to help change it. You know what I mean? Like, I need to go to these
Mhm.
school meetings and I need to speak up and I need to say things. And but I don't know, it's just it's a very sensitive area right now because a lot of those people are
Yeah.
still programmed and they will attack you.
Yeah, and I do not have that route perfected. Like this is schooling
Uh-uh.
specifically. Like I'm pretty good with them and like my kids and themselves, but the entities that they're supposed to belong to, like I tried homeschooling and it genuinely like was not with this little guy is actually because he's supposed to be in JK and he didn't want to go, so I took him out. I didn't even bother putting the other two in JK. My daughter didn't go till halfway through SK. But then again,
Mhm.
it's because I started to panic. She wasn't learning to read, and I thought I was
Mhm.
failing her. And all she wanted to do was she loves to fight. She's a Gemini. She's very up with the excuses, and it's like, and then it's just they listen to other people better than mom. And I don't think it matters who mom is, but other
Mhm.
people genuinely get listened better to mom. And then I tried that. I think I've told you this part. Like I tried the tiny little private school, like it was a
Yeah.
Baptist one, but like it was
Mhm.
affordable and it was private. So I thought it would be better. Oh no, that was probably more dogmatic than the school system would have been.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
ugh, so yeah. So
I
then,
know. It's like a learning, like, we're in this weird gray area right now with this whole with kids and school and how do we, change it. But I think it goes back to it takes a village. Like you said, like your
mhm,
daughter does better learning from somebody else. And it's because we really are supposed to all be raising our kids together. Like we're not supposed to live like this. Like this is so weird how we live in little boxes away from each other. And then you realize, like, why is everybody getting divorced? Because we're living inverted. Like, we're not helping each other. We're barely this ain't living. I
I
saw a
think
meme
that
that
a
said,
lot.
"This ain't living." I was like, "I love that." I'm ready to
It's
live.
so true.
I know, and our kids, like so I don't know, but they came in for this time, so they're definitely here with us to adjust it and be the little beacons, lighthouses in the system, right? Like, so if
Yeah.
they are in it, they're actually a light in the system for us to help change it. Little system busters is what I call them.
Yeah, my daughter definitely is. Well, you know what? Not so much at school because she
Mhm.
actually listens to the teachers. But I've seen her with
Aw.
other people, and I think it's because if it was one on one, she'd be combative, but it's because she's like in the crowd, I think is why she more stays quieter than she does otherwise. Because I've seen her sass like other people too. Like it's not just me. She's very much like the why kid, but like even if you answer, there's still why. But this does like this ODD new like minor autism style kid
Yeah,
that there was a few of them before, but now there's tons of them. It shakes the teachers because like these
yeah,
kids aren't even necessarily naughty. They're genuinely asking, and you have to ask yourself,
yeah,
okay, why? But they usually don't
yeah.
ask themselves, and it is going to shake up the system for sure.
Well, yeah, and what happened to us? We were not allowed to question, and we should be questioning everything. Like,
Yes.
that's our inner child. Like, our questioning is our inner child, and they try to shut our inner child down so early through programming and through shaming, and they, like our parents, they didn't want to answer the whys because they were so messed up from their baby boomer parents who, totally deserted them. And it's like the generational trauma is so real. And now our kids are coming in and they actually are asking why. And we're like, okay, I'm going to actually tell you. And I'm going to tell you the truth, like the real truth. Like,
Mhm. That's what I tell
so,
my kids about the government and everything. I tell them they don't have to
oh
listen
my
to their
God.
teachers. I tell them if you want to talk back, go ahead. I'll never get you in trouble. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's funny.
Defend yourself. Like, yeah, they'll be messing if a bully, you're allowed to defend yourself. And I think what's going to be happening too is I read something that the kids here on out, the ones who are awakening like us, like where our kids are going to be going into more martial arts. They're going to know how to control their body, how to throw, move their body, move their
I
energy
put my daughter in
around.
gymnastics. Yep. Yep.
Yes. So
100%.
this whole group think, sports like soccer and football and a lot of that's going to go away. We'll start noticing it. It's just going to kind of go away because the kids are actually going to want to be in control of their energy because they're going to know that they are energy. They are source. And I want to be, like my kids box, like that Hemi sinks the brain, like it keeps them, they have that point of focus, like sun gazing, right? And they get in control of their body and how their body feels and, how to protect themselves, but also like how to not hurt somebody, right? Like, oh, this person's messing with me, but I can really hurt them and I'm not going to. So I'm going to walk away. And the ego, it flips the ego. It's like, it's actually really brilliant when you start thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Agreed.
and I love that, right? Like our kids are all going to start really, they're going to be little martial artists, like, just so little powerhouses for the future.
Yes. It's true. It's true. I know. I look forward to like seeing what they're going to become. And like it's kind of one of the reasons I want to build up like this transcending ascension because I don't want them to ever go to a 9 to 5. And they can do whatever they want because I kind of want it to
Oh,
be like
yeah. Yeah.
whatever they want in a spiritual way. But even
Yeah.
like my son, if he wanted to be like the business manager or the CEO or you know what I mean? I want to find a position in the business though, like whatever you want to do, but like for the business.
I love that. Yeah, that's beautiful. Oh my God. And they will. And this is really like, us connecting through the Wi-Fi, through the airspace, the ether. Like we are taking control of that realm and doing these podcasts because I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of the people on the left, like a lot of the liberals are starting podcasts up and they're like, we're not authentic. We don't know how to do this.
Yeah, I heard about that. Gavin
Ah,
McInnes or whatever admitted it
yes.
himself. He was like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like he
Yep.
didn't even realize he wasn't a person. Like he didn't even realize it.
I mean, isn't that cool? Like that's growth. Like for a lefty to say that, that's so good. That's beautiful. That's like,
I
yes.
thought so too. I was like fireworks. I'm like, that's because that'll shake because he's really respected, even some like Republicans, like I don't know. I just his name a lot. And
Hmm.
you hear like a lot of people standing up for him. And for that, you know,
That's good.
message to wave out to the lefties, like in that kind of way. Like, not that I'm a righty either. I'm
No,
center,
same, same. I
center.
didn't, yeah.
It's just when it's
I'm,
just it's like when the storm is happening though, these people
you,
like they kind of have the
yep.
better, like the conservative side had like the better options. They were the kind of ones that like did the trucker thing in Canada that
Yeah.
ended our
Oh, yeah.
lockdown.
I
That was
remember that.
conservative.
Yeah.
So like they were doing a lot to help, but then you see it kind of spin back the other way lately, like with stuff coming out like in Ben Shapiro showing
Hmm.
clear sovereignty with like Israel. Not that I'm political whatsoever, but you're showing that when you told them they were dogmatic, it turns out you are too.
Hmm.
It's just the current narrative you had was working for what the collective was kind of calling for, you know what I mean? And not that he was being
Yeah.
disingenuous, but he kind of revealed another side to show like this person's not perfect either. And they're all kind of having their own, except Joe Rogan still is like, that's, Joe is like a center
Yeah.
middle pillar person. And that's why like you won't shake him, where it's like, and why would you want to? Anybody that would want to would be crazy. And like, and then I think like hopefully like that's what I want to be, like that middle space, which I think
Hmm.
like a lot of us, especially like the ones that like we had in the panel, like I think that's like the
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
thing that it was
Yeah.
never one
Yeah.
conspiracy or another, one side or another, one religion or another. It was all just full sovereignty and openness of being aware of everything possible, really.
Oh gosh, open to like all possibilities. Yeah, and all outcomes. And I think like even the Republican, they're just using that as a stepping stone. You know what I mean? Like they're using that political party as a stepping stone to get back to who you really are. That's how I see it. Because I'm like, okay, like, because these people know, like Trump knows, like he knows the truth. He knows what we really are. He's not clueless. He's totally clued in. Whatever spirit is in him knows. And
Yeah, I agree.
everything is so much deeper. Everything has so much deeper meaning. Like, even him being with the prince, over there in Saudi Arabia, like all of it has so much deeper meaning. But I think they really are using it as a stepping stone to get us to remember who we are and just to kind of recalibrate because there's a lot of like values on that side that are not as like the left, just more sovereignty, basically, like becoming more sovereign
Yeah,
and I don't even think we're gonna have this whole political system soon. Like the
hopefully not.
government, yeah, it's
Yeah.
all gonna go away because we don't need to be governed. When we remember who we are, all that, like people aren't gonna hurt each other because you wouldn't want to hurt anybody because you're hurting yourself if you hurt somebody, right? Like
Yeah.
if I go and hurt you or say something bad about you, I'm actually talking bad about myself. Like, why would
Yeah,
I
and
do
one day
that?
you'll experience that. Like that's the true goal.
Yeah. Oh, your phone's up. Diana. Mm, these jammers. Dang. I
I'm
can't
back.
believe they jam there might be actual jammers around you.
That's actually a good point. That makes
There's
sense.
there's got to be something you can do about that because they will jam your like even though you're on Starlink, I mean, they can try to do that, unfortunately. Um, I'll have to send you some information on that. But no, what you were saying, like about using the stepping stones, that's when it froze up. So you agree, like they're kind of using the stepping stones to get people back to like base, maybe, like because
Yeah,
I don't
like
think we'll have it anymore.
because
Like,
that's even how you should do with absolutely everything. It's like you step
hmm
a little in Buddhism to learn this, a little in
yeah,
Christianity to learn that, and then like you're ascending up and whatever will take you there. So even politically,
yeah,
if we're going to have I'm all for burning the entire thing down. But if we're going to have it, then the intelligent way is to like go this way, go that way, go this way, go that way. Like, and we've done that throughout the years. Me and my husband, like even politically, like
hmm
we've never been
hmm
like, like there's years we voted conservative, there's years we voted liberal, there's years like
hmm
it depends on the swing of things. Not that I want to vote, but honestly, the no vote thing doesn't make sense because if just one person votes, that's good enough. Like
right,
the whole no vote thing is that's not the answer. I would wish it'd be that easy if there was like, oh, but they don't care. They'd probably rather just a little, we're just helping them. They'd probably rather most people give away their power instead of I think we're doing good though with showing authenticity as
hmm
being like a good thing. Like that's the one thing with Trump is you could say whatever you want about him, but he clearly seems pretty authentic, and
hmm
that speaks. And
yeah,
then it's like I'm not a political person, but I'm a people person though, and I can read
hmm
people really well.
yeah,
And I'm sure he's got his own agenda, but his ego is so huge he would save the world just to get to go down in history as a hero. So he's a
yeah,
useful person that
hmm
knows a lot, right? Where,
yeah,
who knows where you lay otherwise, but that's why, yeah.
yeah, and just like we don't need all this. Like if we heal, and that's what they're afraid of, like us really healing, because when we heal, we stop hurting people because we're not hurt anymore. Hurt people, healed people heal people. And that's like the biggest secret. Like that's like one of the best kept secrets is like if you heal, other people are going to start healing. So they don't want us to heal. So keep them divided, keep them shut down, keep them, thinking that it has to be left or right or, good or
Give them a
bad,
ton
hot
of
or cold.
bureaucracy to keep them busy or stuff like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
and it doesn't we can simply choose another way, and I think we are. I really do feel like I mean, if we're awakening, that means other people are awakening. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like if we know it, that means they know it. Um, and I think this the more, like your show, like having people come on and talking about what they're going through, like it's just so inspiring. Um, I love it. Like I really one day I'll have my show like you. I
Yeah.
love this. This is so fun. Like
Yeah,
it's
you'd be
been so
very good
fun.
at it. I still want to find out if you're a projector or not, because I think you definitely are. But you never know.
I
I've
don't
been wrong
know.
before.
It's so weird. What I realize is I don't know anything. The more I align myself, I'm like, I'm just open to whatever. Like I know nothing, so give me everything, right? Like
Yes. I
and
tell them that all the time. I want all the info. Tell me everything.
yeah, yeah, I'm not gonna like block it. I'm not gonna like hide from it. Like I might not, consent to it, but that's okay. And I'm just open, but I really don't know anything. Like I'm learning just like everybody else, and I just share what I find that's really cool and inspiring, and if it has light codes in it, like because there's some, everything has light codes in it. So if you read a meme, it has light codes in it. It's gonna, affect you or not, or good or bad, yin or yang. And I just like to share what if something lights me up, I like to share it for other people because it might trigger something in them to help them. That's what's so cool about like us like taking over the internet space, right? Like they were in charge of it for a long time, but now we are, and we're using it to actually help people. Even if it's
Yeah.
a cat meme. Cat
I got
memes.
I got started on memes way back in my Facebook days. Just like I memes literally started with
Mm-hmm.
health, and that led to herbs, and that led to witchcraft. And it's like if it wasn't for memes, I wouldn't have woken up, and then it told me about vaccines. Like all that
Yeah.
early learning was all memes because I was in a much lower density place of not being ready to like
Yeah.
take extra steps, just
Yeah.
scrolling and not really living. But it got to me though. It got through.
Meme wars. Meme
Yeah.
wars. Like what they say, like just fight them with your memes. Like they don't know how to make them because we're so creative when we make them, right? Like I love
It's
all the
true.
lizard ones and the witch ones and the cat ones. Like it's just so fun. And all like all the starseed stuff and the galactic stuff. Like all that stuff is so helpful. It's all like stepping stones to get you to who you are. Like I like when I think back now, like my starseed stages. I just loved all that. That was so fun. It was like so enlightening. You know what I mean? To like, oh yeah, it might be from this planet. Just to ask the question, like, where am I from? Like, what star system do I come from?
Yeah.
Once we start doing that, we just start to heal the inner child.
There
And then
is
we start
I'd forgotten that time, so thank you. Oh my
mm-hmm.
god, I remember, especially when it was early empath moved to starseed, and you feel special. You feel like all your
Yeah.
pain was worth something, but then you
Mm-hmm.
keep growing and you realize, "Oh shit, this is a lot of responsibility and I have to save the world." Like but like there
Now
is
I
that
actually
moment of
matter. Yeah.
yeah.
Like you do matter. You're not just 1 in 9 billion, Diana. You actually really are real and you really do matter. That was when, yeah, realizing that, like, oh my God, they tried to convince us we were just
Uh-huh.
one in one, like 9 billion.
Yeah,
Like, we
just
don't
an
matter.
ant. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. That's
that's
why I love
wild.
those memes with the shark, but it's not really a shark. It's like 1,000 fish put together eating the shark. And like,
Yes.
yeah, like the ant, if like a billion ants attack, like that's real and they'll attack a bigger
Hmm.
insect, but they win. And it's like, okay, you can talk about how powerful this 1% is, but we're 99%. So just by
Yep.
sheer volume alone, if we put our minds to something, it will be done because that's
Yeah.
just math. And we're
Yes.
staggeringly over the number we need.
Yeah. And that's why, like, we need them to come along. We can't just put them in 15-minute cities. Like, they need to come along with us because we're going to create such a beautiful reality, like, where we can travel the cosmos again.
Yes.
That's we're never gonna be bored ever again. Like that's not even a real thing. Like we'll be able to just go and come back or go to Pleiades, go to Syria, go to Mars, like wherever. Like we can do that. That's been hidden from us.
That's beautiful. That's such a perfect way to end it too, actually, as we come to this time. That was beautiful because I love to end on a positive note because like envisioning a positive future will bring us that positive future.
That's a good vision, right? To think about. Like when you were saying earlier, I don't really know what to think about with the future. Like that's a good one. Like we'll be
Yeah,
able to
getting
do that
back
again.
to I would
Yep.
love that. And honestly, portals, I said I get called to stuff with pings.
Hmm.
Portals is one of those things where I just keep getting reminded and taught in different ways. Not like because I know about portals, but like it's constantly being mentioned in every direction now. It's becoming like
Yeah.
a hot topic of just like weird mentioning though. Like so it's just all over the place. So I'm like, am I gonna find a portal? Like
Well, portals, and then the other one that I've been hearing a lot is the codex, the code. Like we hold the codes.
yes.
That's kind of like everywhere right now in the collective. So there must be a lot of power about these codes that are in us.
Well, I had similar
And
messaging, but algorithm is what came through to me. I've been teaching like we are an algorithm for a bit, and
mm,
like
yeah,
so when that happens, like That's
Yeah.
why I hate when people talk about idea stealing, because it's like, no, that's just the collective consciousness permeating a bunch of beings with the same idea, like the light bulb,
Right.
like
Yeah. Yep.
that just happens.
Don't
And
get
sometimes
mad.
comes in different
Yeah.
language, right? So, but yeah, like this codex and even like the term matrix and how you weave it yourself, like there's so many things coming online that we are this algorithm, this codex that like
Yeah.
is so malleable if we know what we're doing.
Oh yeah. Totally. I mean, it really is like happening. I'm so thankful to be here for it. And every day is just what's gonna be tomorrow? What's gonna happen? Like it's just so much is happening. It's so fun. And time is speeding up. I feel it. I know you feel it.
Big time.
And yeah, I think that's why it's been so important to just go slow to go fast. Because
Mhm.
time really is speeding up. Like it's getting faster and faster and faster. And it's it's just really important for us to ground, like you were saying earlier, like just stay grounded, like, stay home. Just be with your family, be with yourself, and
Yeah,
be
quit your
okay with
job,
that.
call in
Yeah.
sick, like, all these things,
Mhm.
like, if your job's affected, because I hear that that's the biggest thing you hear is I can't, my job, I get it, I once had to pay rent to survive, but think of something else that you could do or live with someone else, like, room up, do all these different things, because
Yeah.
if that's in your way, you can't let your soul connection be lost because of that, because trust me, if you manifested something else, it would happen.
Yeah. Yep. And that really is trusting in yourself to be able to do that. Like just put the trust in yourself and like be okay with putting the trust into yourself.
Mhm.
Like talk to yourself about it. Like, be okay with it. And I just think we the more we do this and the more we talk about this, the more it makes it easier for everybody else. And the more we stop planning and just being here now, like, don't be, for me, it was like, I don't want to be a mom anymore that would have like all the summer planned out. And then guess what? There's no room to breathe because the whole summer is planned out. Why
I
would I
did
do
that
that to myself?
I've done that. I've ruined my summers a couple years in a row. And this year I was like, no vacations because like
Yeah,
I kept lowering oh my God. Yeah. I've literally ruined the whole summer one year. Yeah. Cause I wanted the kids to have this perfect summer with all
yeah,
these vacations and all this stuff. And it's like, I was
control.
a basket case because it's like packing. Oh my God. Yeah. Agreed.
Yep. Yeah. So that's a good one. Just like try not to make try not to make too many plans because then you're creating so many timelines and we don't
And
need all these timelines.
the divine will bring you amazing things
Yes.
anyways, like,
Yep.
vacation ideas will pop up, it's easy to book last minute and sometimes even cheaper, like,
Mhm.
like, this pre-planning lifestyle and that's with everything, it numbs the soul, like, the soul doesn't
Yeah.
like plans.
It steals the power. Yeah, it steals your power and it takes you from the now moment and where we are unpredictable and perfectly imperfect. Like we're supposed to be in the now moment. Like not everything is perfect. It's not supposed to be. We're perfectly imperfect. So the more we just kind of remember that and stay here now, spontaneous, unpredictable, then guess what? They don't know what you're doing. And you can do what you want to do because you haven't told the whole world your plans.
Yes, it's so
Ah,
true, it's
more
so
protected.
true. Yeah, I love that. That was perfect because it's if you don't honor the now and if you don't trust the divine, then that's not living a real life because that's what real life is. Real life is the now. And then you
Hmm.
step into that with full trust because you trust the divine, which really comes down to trusting yourself. Like trusting all of yourself to make sure that
Yes.
unfolds. And it doesn't mean
Yep.
like being responsible. It doesn't mean like lazy party life. It
Mm,
means like because the flow comes with instructions. It does come with work, but it's like given to you in the moment or like maybe a day or two ahead, sometimes a little bit further, it depends on what it is, but usually it's pretty all in the now space, you know?
that's where the magic is. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Oh, I
Beautiful.
love that. Thank you.
Yes.
This was so fun. I'm so happy I got to come on. This was such a great time.
It was. I'm very happy too. Thank you so much. This was amazing, amazing talk. And I definitely hope to have you back on again. And hopefully you have your own podcast because you're just natural at this. Like you just have it. You got it.
Oh my God. I don't feel like that because I get like, I don't know what's gonna happen.
And like
So
your set already looks pristinely curated. Like it just naturally was, like we were just saying, the divine lined it up.
Yeah, and just being outside is kind of fun, even though it's dark out now. Which was that kind of cool, like seeing the sun go out. That'll actually be kind
Yes,
of fun to
it
watch.
was. And then the cat on the black background, that
Oh
was
my
actually
God.
just perfect.
Whiskey,
Like at this point, it looks
whiskers.
like a black wall. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me, and I love you. And I will definitely be joining the panel again soon. I can't this Saturday, but I will
No worries.
this
Neither
Saturday.
can I. I can't do the next two.
Okay, okay, good to know. So we'll definitely in the future we'll be getting together.
Awesome.
Bye,
Perfect. Well,
girl.
thank you so much, Rockell, and thank you everybody for being here today. We'll see you next time.